Hi,
Hey, look,
Rachel.
everybody's back. It
How
feels like
are
it
you
was so
guys?
long.
Everyone looks amazing.
Same
Thank
with you,
you. And
Rachel.
you
You look
too.
lovely.
I know. We got to catch up at the end of this, though, to sort of update where everybody is. I mean, Rachel is, Amazoning all the time. So I
Rachel
love
is
it.
booked and busy, and
Yeah.
I love
Booked
to
and
say,
busy. Yeah.
And then Hannah with the medicine and all of that. I mean, it's just so much. I'm just here for the big brother, and you both have such good insight. So I think we got to dive in. Welcome to the Secret Alliance podcast, where we talk about the game of Big Brother with the people who play it, like Hannah Chaddha and Rachel Reilly, plus yours truly, Jason Guy from Big Brother Season 3. And let's get into Big Brother Season 26. We've got a couple of episodes under our belts. What do you think so far about this season, the twist, the cast? What stands out?
Yeah, I love the cast. I feel like their casting is really great this season. And I don't know where they found these people, but I love them. They feel very open and they feel very available to talk. And the conversations I hear them having are a lot more than just like fluff or, immature stuff. Like the conversations feel very, I don't know. I just like it. It's fun. It's a great cast, and I wasn't sure when I watched their bios how it would be, but I've really come to like all of them. And you know who is really surprising me the most is that little Cedric, because he's 21 and I thought he was going to be immature or just not like, I just didn't know what to expect because he's so young, and I really like him. Like watching him on the feeds and on the episodes, he's just so adorable and fun. He brings great energy. I think he's going to go far in this game, to be completely honest.
Didn't he say he had some intelligence background? I don't know if it was with
Marine,
military or
right?
something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's letting them underestimate him, and
I think so.
kudos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hannah, what about you? Anybody standing out right now?
Yeah, well, I would just like to apologize because I think I perhaps misjudged this cast. When I first read their bios, and when I first watched their interviews, this was before they moved into the house, of course, I was just feeling slightly underwhelmed. I was like, they're not really telling me why they think they're going to win Big Brother. They're not really giving us insight into how they're going to win the game and what's prepared them in their lives up until this point. So I didn't know what to expect, but they bring such a great collective energy. I don't think we're going to be anything short of entertained this summer. I don't know if we're going to get stellar gameplay, but we're going to get chaotic gameplay and fun gameplay. And I'm just really excited for this season. And Jesse and his casting team did a phenomenal job. So kudos to you. Sorry for misjudging this cast. A few standouts. Tucker. I think Tucker's hilarious. We haven't really seen him talk very much game, but he seems like he's made good inroads with people. He has this ease about him, but he's also a bit of a hater. And and I mean that in the best way possible. Like anytime I turn on feeds and Tucker's on my screen, I see him talking about someone, and it's one-sided beef. He's either talking about Leah, he's talking about Matt, he's talking about how he dislikes Kenny, he's talking about how he dislikes this person. This person left shrimp in the stove or on the stove for 3 days. This person gave someone else food poisoning. I love him. I think he's great.
Yeah, he is fun.
Definitely entertaining on the feeds.
Yeah, they're really entertaining. The other one I was going to say is that Lisa, and this is my thing, I love her. Like, she's a Rachel fan, so obviously love her. But like she, to me, is really going and playing this game. She went in that house and she went to work. Like she even said it, like when she got put on the block, she went and took every single person and pulled them aside and had a chat with them about why she's good for their game. And I thought that was very interesting because we never see that week one, ever. Like nobody does that week one because so many things could change. Then she went out and she won the veto. And now she's like somehow running the house. I don't even understand, but everybody's going to her. I posted a clip on TikTok. Angela is like, Angela's like saying, I need a best friend and you're my best friend. And it's just like hilarious. But so people trust Lisa and they want to work with her. And I think that she's really playing a great game too.
Yeah, I
Do you
feel like we get as past players a little sucked in when somebody gives you a little love in those pre-game interviews. So Quinn said something about Jason Guy. I
Oh
looked
yeah.
up on social media. I was like, all right, okay, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch Quinn. And I've got to say, I don't know if it was a good move to really give his information and trust Angela. I don't know yet. It's yet to be seen, but he's going to build a bond there. But I really like him in this game, and I think he's somebody who is going to do well when he figures it out, how to navigate it. I think right now,
Yeah.
that's the hardest part in the first few weeks. And I got really nervous for Brooklyn. I thought we're going to have mom. She's going in and going out because she started playing really fast.
Yeah.
It felt like episode 3. She's like, let's make alliances. Let's do that. Was it too much?
I don't think so
uh,
because everyone's doing it.
yeah. This cast is gaming, and I love that because Rachel's absolutely right. Typically, during week 1, we're just like we rarely get to see alliance like that's a lie. No, alliances are always formed
Yeah.
during week.
They're always
Now,
whether
formed.
they
but we
rarely
don't-
last.
that's
I mean, some
Yeah.
do, but yeah.
But people are just kind of testing the waters. People are putting their feelers out during week 1. It doesn't ever feel like an aggressive week to me, although it
Right.
consistently feels very dynamic. So I love the fact that this cast is being assertive. They're not afraid to talk gameplay. They're not afraid to form alliances and then disband those alliances. They're very open. I think Rachel used the word open. They're very open in terms of expressing who they want to work with, who they don't, who they trust, who they don't. They're complaining about people. And that's something that at least I have not seen in a very, very long time. It's almost reminiscent of old school BB.
Yes.
So I love it. But I was going to ask Rachel, do you feel like Lisa I mean, now no one can really say anything to her because she's secured her safety. She won the veto. She has some agency, some currency in the house with that power. And I think a lot of people are also suspicious that she got the upgrade. And so that's why they're kind of cozying up to her a bit when we know it was Quinn from her group that has the power. But do you feel like Lisa sketching people out with maybe how hard she's
Yeah.
gunning this
I
early?
think that's what I think the problem. So like, I'm just not sure if she's doing too much, but she's in everyone's ear. So everyone is like definitely sharing stuff with her. Everyone is talking to her about something. She kind of has an alliance with everyone, and it could come back to like hurt her in the end. But it does feel like people want to cozy up to her and tell her things and just like complain to her and just like, and she comes across as very level-headed when I'm not sure that she is, like, but she comes across as very much like, I think that's the vibe and this is the, what I'm feeling from other people. So it feels like she, in that house, I probably would think she would be a safe spot to talk to as well. So she feels like maybe a safe spot, but I do notice a lot of people are like also talking about her behind the scenes. So I think it's just kind of like everyone's still kind of trying to figure out what's going on. And since it's been such a chaotic week with the Angela like coming at Matt and Angela coming at Joseph and Angela, I mean, she's gone to everyone. That girl is just like, I don't know how she's going to survive next week. You do?
Well, I don't know. Jason, what do you think about Lisa, about Angela?
Well, I think Angela is in trouble. I don't disagree with you, Rachel. I think week 2 is going to be really tough. Now, maybe she's built some solid team here and some people who will protect her, or she is able to get veto. But I don't think any of these magical powers that now have been unleashed are going to get used on Angela if she were nominated. And again, we're jumping past how this week even plays out. I think, though, she's got Matt certainly to worry about. But maybe not. Maybe she smoothed that over and he thinks that even though he told her, I'd come after you if you put me on the block, but then she didn't put him on the block and he may feel good about that. I don't know. I don't know exactly how things are going to shake out for her. But I think that in week 2, if she survives, maybe she'll do okay. But I think she's at an 11
Yeah.
and she needs to come down to really like a comfortable 5 to 7 for her. Or people are going to get tired of the constant energy and all the things that are happening.
100%. I agree. I think, Hannah, I love the drama. I love the energy she's bringing. But I also question, is she trying to win an award, or is she trying to is she being honest and real and like, or does she think that she's going to get nominated for a Golden Globe? Like, I really am not quite sure. Like,
why not
right.
both?
And maybe, and like, so on X, they posted that she's been on Price is Right. She's been on Let's Make a Deal.
Okay.
And she's been on Dr. Phil. So her family was on a full episode of Dr. Phil. So I feel like for me,
I need a lot more to know a lot more about that.
Okay, they put cameras in their house, so they were recorded for a week, 24/7. Her daughter didn't talk to her dad since she was 14 years old. Her daughter's like 20 now. Angela is like crying the whole time, like encouraging this, and then she's not encouraging. It's a mess. It is like a mess. And then apparently Brooklyn was also on Dr. Phil. So now I'm questioning if one of the casting associates worked on Dr. Phil and found these people had them in their files. Because like Big Brother's like, oh, if you were on, I don't know, Squid Games, no, we don't want you for Big Brother. But if you're on like Let's Make a Deal or a Dr. Phil, they don't put that in the same category. So I'm kind of wondering if that's what's going on, because I think it's interesting that 2 house guests were on Dr. Phil. So obviously someone's files had like crossed over. And then I think that
or somebody just watches a lot of Dr. Phil and
well, but I mean, as far as casting, so this season for casting, at the very end of casting, Jesse brought on Erin Tomasilio's team, and her team is the team that cast for The Traitors, but they also cast for a lot of other shows. So they did The Circle and Dr. Phil and like a bunch of other things. So I am wondering if these are just files that they've had that from people that have, yeah, sure, you've been on Dr. Phil, but you're also da 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 da. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm just noticing these things, and that's because I work in the industry. So like, that's
so much insider info.
Yeah, and that's just like from a casting perspective. But like, this is my thing about Angela. If she did the Dr. Phil thing, and she was very over the top. So obviously, she wants to be on TV. Obviously, she's here to make television. She's obviously like at every chance she can, she's trying to get a moment, right? That's going to be on the show. I love that because I love the messy drama. I love the messy television. It's not good for her game. Like, it's just not. Like, she's not going to win the show. I think she'll be a pre-jury boot.
I would agree with that.
I have so many questions for you guys. Okay, so my first question is, do you feel like Angela necessarily wants to make it far, or is she just trying to have her iconic moments while she can rack them up? Because I didn't know about Dr. Phil. I didn't know about The Price is Right. I didn't know about Let's Make a Deal. I thought this was a mother from Utah who was a longtime fan of Big Brother.
Yeah.
It's been
her VHS tape.
Yeah, so
that's what she wants us to think.
And she's succeeding because I didn't know. And as a super fan myself going into that house, it's probably that much more overwhelming for you because you're like, wait a sec, I'm in the Big Brother house. Yeah. I know every single person that has used that toilet before me. Like that, I remember feeling that and thinking that. And just like going to different areas and quoting various fights that had happened over the last couple decades. So I thought she was just an eager beaver. I didn't realize that maybe she has an ulterior motive. She's trying to win an Oscar. She's trying to win.
Right.
And she's trying to get her EGOT. And I think Angela.
Yeah.
So that's what you think.
I think she's trying to get, I do think she's trying to get her iconic moment on television and her moment where she gets brought back for another season. I would hate to play the game with her because now knowing all this information about her, she's not there to play the game. So she's there to just be messy, which to me is the most dangerous kind of player that you can play the game with.
Yeah, because then it's unpredictable. It's almost like they're a production plant. Like they're just there to make good TV.
To make good television, which means that she's literally just going to backstab you for no reason. She's gonna go
Mhm.
against a house vote for no reason. She's just gonna be someone that you can't trust. She's gonna be like, if I ever had to play a season with her, she would be the first person that I would get out, even over people I don't like. Just because I would know, it's almost like I know I don't like this person, but I know how they're gonna play the game. Whereas with Angela, she's so unpredictable and she's there to make television. So she's just gonna mess up my game just for the point of messing up my game.
Mm.
Hmm.
I have another
Yeah.
question for you guys.
Yeah,
Um,
I love your insight on that because I really agree with the fact that I think she's going to be hard to just live with and
Yeah.
then to play the game with it, forget about it.
so a question that I have, you guys both did so well. Um, in both of your or in all three of your respective seasons, but we have noticed a trend over the last 4 seasons where the first HOH is a pre-jury boot. You had Frenchie was HOH week 1 on my season, went home the next week. Then you had Daniel, who was HOH week 1 on BB24, went home, I believe, week 5. So right before jury started. And then last season, Reilly was HOH first week, got sent home the next week. So, with that being said, is there something that's just like fundamentally flawed with going for that first HOH? What is the best way that you guys think someone could handle having all of that power with not knowing how the twists are going to play out? Not really like,
Yeah.
there's just so much
I'm going to jump in
uncertainty
on
with
the thing because it's hard to say that there's any rhyme or reason in it. On my season, Lisa won the first HOH and then went on to win the game. So season 3 of Big
Me
Brother,
too.
it was different. And then Rachel, you can speak to that as well. Now the thing that they mentioned in the first episode, and I had it kind of just passed by me, but somebody was like, "Oh, I know, I walked in first, and I shouldn't do that." So there's sort of this fear of going into the house and being that first person across the threshold, like that jinxes your game or something. It's all just anything can happen. Anybody can win the Super Bowl. You could be. We watched, our Florida team in the hockey, in the Stanley Cup there, and they were like killing it at the beginning, 3 games up, and then they started tanking, and then it was like they lost the next 3, and then and all these people who do stats, they were like, oh, well, the only time that this has ever happened and a team can come back and blah, 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 and they're like, but then they went on and won it. And, so it's like, I feel like we can break all those molds, but I think many of the players who are looking long-term in the game are going to avoid that first HOH because they don't want the target that it puts on you. In more recent iterations of Big Brother, I think that's what some of the smarter players do. But I don't know. It seems to be something that they do. I don't know if they're saying that in the diary room, but we're not hearing them really talk about it in the house. But I mean, I think if I walked in there, I wouldn't want to be the first HOH.
And see,
What do
now
you say,
I
Rachel?
disagree with that because, and I know what you're saying, and Tommy Bracco recently said it on his podcast too, that the trend of being the first HOH in this recent Big Brother is really a bad idea because of all the twists and because of the unpredictability. However, I think I was the same way. I won first HOH, won the whole game. I know that we've had like what didn't Cody win the first HOH and win the whole season? So like I
Me too.
think that yeah. So I think you have to look at it from the point of view is that if you win that first, Hayden on my season, on season 12, won the first HOH, won the whole game. So you have to look at it. If you are first HOH, you need to make the best decisions for moving forward in your own game. You have to think, don't let the power, pretend like you don't have any power and let other people just tell you everything that you're going to hear, that's what's going on in the house. Let other people almost make the decisions, because the thing is about first HOH, everybody's coming to you. So you have all this power where people are just spilling their guts to you. They're just telling you everything. And all you have to do is just sit back and like listen. And then my other thing about first HOH is that nobody remembers the first HOH boot because you're not best friends with them. So even though you live in the house with them for 10 days, maybe the first person that goes home by the middle or the end of the game, nobody cares. Like you're not really getting blood on your hands because by that time you're like, was Matt even in the house? You know what I mean? It's like,
Remember that.
yeah, exactly. Like you don't really remember that person. Now, the people you mentioned, Hannah, like Reilly and Daniel and Frenchie and I don't remember who else, but the first HOHs on the past 4 seasons, they were all really chaotic and they really like went crazy with the power. And Angela's doing the same thing, starting fights for no reason. Angela, all she had to do, like literally was just like do her HOH, make her nominees, tell Lisa, look, this was not, I had to nominate 3 people. It literally had nothing to do with you. Tell Chemo the same thing. Tell Kenny the same thing. You all have the chance to win the veto. Be the victim. The first HOH is such a hard position. I don't know anyone. No alliances have been formed. I didn't know what to do. And then like walk away. And that's all you have to say. The thing is, when you say too much or you let the power go to your head, then you get in trouble. You just can't say too much. You just have to be like very firm in your conversations. And like, I just honestly, it was just like, I didn't think you would get mad because we didn't really talk. And I'm so glad that we're talking now. Then you're like, then you put it on them. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to play a smarter game.
Okay. So when you end up in the Big Brother house and you become the first HOH, you cannot run it like the chaotic way.
Like a regime.
Sit back and let things come to you and then just absorb all that information. I do see the benefit in that, and I do feel like looking back at it, that is more of how Lisa on my season handled it. It is interesting.
That's what I did. I literally went to my HOH room, first HOH. I let Evil Dick make the decision for who we were going to nominate. And that was it. And I was just like, we just don't really know anyone. And I'll be completely honest, it had nothing to do with you, or it was just like a pure game thing. And then people can't get mad at you because the truth is like, you don't know anyone, So it's like at that point, you just are kind of going in, and then the next week, everyone forgets because it's a whole new week with a whole new HOH, and you can kind of change your game however you want.
Yeah. I do like that there is week to week amnesia, because there are things people can pull off in a week or two. It's almost forgotten. It's not, but they'll always bring those competitions in where they say week 2, this happened. And then everyone go, oh yeah, remember that? But for the most part, it is remarkable how the time is very different than in the real world in the Big Brother house. And a week is so long, or I felt like it was, and months are really, really long periods of time. And so you have so much time that other things get in the way. And I was always trying to look ahead and a couple of steps ahead. So you do. I feel like what's behind is just like, okay, we're moving forward. How do we navigate what's next?
Did it not feel like each week? And Rachel, you probably you definitely spent the most time in the Big Brother house out of all. But does it not feel like each week is the equivalent of a month in the real world? And like each day is a week?
Yes.
Crazy.
It's crazy because you have nothing else to distract you. And especially now, it's amplified even more because when Jason and I played, we didn't have, social media. We didn't even have YouTube. I mean, we did, but like we didn't. It wasn't like a big thing. So for us, like going into the Big Brother house, no pens, no papers, no outside phones or whatever. They take away your devices. It's a little more like, okay, this is more freeing. But now that everyone has everything at their fingertips all the time, from like TikTok is in your face constantly. You scroll and it's just like noise. And so people are constantly distracted by noise. So to take that away, it has to feel like even more intense than it did when I played Big Brother. I just can't imagine with their life, the life that you live in 2024, taking everything away. Because it's just so much more intense than even when we played Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't thought about that it would feel even longer in that house.
But also, I don't know if you're a fan of the game and this is what you have truly always wanted to do and you really have your eyes on the prize, then at least in my experience, I did not even remember the fact that I didn't have my phone. Like that was just a non-factor for me. because I was so just consumed by this game and I genuinely enjoyed every minute of it. But for some people who are maybe just there because they want the followers, they've never seen an episode of Big Brother. I remember Kevin from season 19 telling me he didn't even know that he would be locked in a house. Like he brought going out stuff, and the producers came into his room and they were like, Kevin, what's all this going out stuff for? And he was like, oh, when we go to the bars, when we go to the clubs. And they were like, oh no, you're going to be locked in a house for however many days. Like, you're not going to have access to the outside world. And he was like, wait, what?
Yeah, this is not real world.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, Hannah, I mean, I feel like I just don't understand that, because even with your season, you had like Instagram and you had like the world at your fingertips. You literally just went in and you didn't think about it. I mean, you never even thought like, I don't have my phone on me, because I remember even that feeling. No?
Okay.
Yeah. No, but prior to Big Brother, I wasn't on social media. I'm a super private person by nature. And because I was so busy with school and studying for the MCAT, I would limit my phone usage to 30 minutes a day. So it didn't feel like that stark of a contrast for me, at least. And like I said, I was so excited to be there. That was definitely a bucket list item. So I wasn't thinking about family. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was very much.
But I think that's a good way to jump into an experience like this. Because while we didn't have any of those things, I mean, that was a prize or maybe a promotional thing. When we got out, they were like, we're going to give you a cell phone. And I mean, maybe I had a cell phone at that point in time, but I don't know. And so it is strange. I mean, nowadays, think about how like 4 hours can vanish if you're just doom scrolling, and just like it's gone. And then you're like, what did I do with my life? And so in the Big Brother house, 4 hours is like an alliance is formed. It's fallen apart. Somebody else has betrayed you and backstabbed,
And even in like the Big Brother house, I just remember sometimes even just sitting in the backyard, I couldn't quiet my mind because there's nothing to think about. So I would just be like thinking about everything because there's nothing to distract your thoughts. So you're just like, okay, is so-and-so talking about me? What's going on? And I would like just be sitting there on the lounge chair trying to like not think about anything. So I feel like I can't imagine having everything like going from where we have, like literally you can't even walk into the supermarket without hearing like, something in a speaker telling you what to buy or what to do or what the news is. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just it's such a different experience to just get out, take that all away.
And I think that's one thing that as viewers, people watch the show and they still, Julie set it up perfectly on that first episode. She's like, there's no social media. There's no cell phones. It's, there's no tech for these house guests, no connection to the outside world. Now the house is filled with it to capture it all. And people still ask, they go, so wait, you didn't get to check email? You couldn't call your family? It's none of that.
No.
And these are people who would watch the show.
Yeah.
It really is like, it's hard to wrap your head around. And even still, I think that's what we're all saying today. It's even going back in there, it's a little hard to think about doing it once again. I mean, Hannah, you're the closest to that time. So it is good to get your perspective on it. And maybe because, you were doing so much with, you said you were working at the MCATs and studying for that and taking that. And then all of the school stuff, maybe it was a good, like a moment to breathe and it's like focus on something different. And I mean, I think we all can agree that nonstop while you're in there, that's what you're thinking about. I tried to come up with ways to distract myself. I thought about food a lot while we were in there and like, how can we take these things they gave us and make something really amazing out of it? The groceries I have heard have gotten a lot better season after season.
Yes. Oh, everything looks amazing. Like, did you see their fitness center?
Yeah.
I'm like, excuse me. But where was that?
They want their cast to look better than
I know.
Season 3 cast.
They have 2 spin bikes. It looked like they had like some sort of rower or something. They have a full like setup of like weights machines. They have like yoga mats for them. Like they have a fitness center, not just like a little elliptical.
We had Pilates stuff too.
Okay.
We had yoga stuff. We had little weights. Yeah, it was nice.
We had an elliptical and it didn't work.
Oh no. I literally, Oh, sorry,
We
go
had no
ahead.
cardio, nothing cardio.
No
So we would run
cardio?
circles around the backyard. Yeah.
Yes.
And you know how small it is.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, 102 laps to get 1 mile.
And
I will never forget that because I would ask Big Brother every day to tell me how many laps I have to get to do a mile. They would never tell me. Finally, one day I was running, and I think this was after I fell. it's a very famous clip online. I was like talking to Jeff and Jordan, and I like fell off of the balcony. They finally told me like how many laps it was to do a mile.
Oh my
awesome.
God.
And that's the new house. I think our yard would have been smaller because I remember going in,
that's
seeing
right.
this new house and going, it's so big. The yard is huge and the house is massive. I mean, yeah, you all got an upgrade from early seasons. That's for sure.
I felt like I was at a 5-star resort. That is why whenever I think the number one question that I get asked is like, would you do it again? And as jarring as it was to come out of the Big Brother house, that was probably the hardest part for me, was just transitioning back into real life and grappling with the fact that life and time had passed for everyone else, but not for us. And that was weird. Just like relearning old habits, losing habits that you had developed in the Big Brother house. Big Brother, 100,000% worth it. I would spend 1,000 days in that house. I loved it. I loved it. It was like a vacation filled with manipulation and betrayal and backstabbing.
It was, I will say, there were elements of vacation in there. And I remember that like, it is fun. It was like the greatest summer camp that you could ever experience.
Yeah.
But I think the stressful thing is that you are playing a game in there. And then I worried an awful lot about everybody outside, you know. Is my grandfather okay? You know, he was getting older at the time, and you know, how are my parents? My brother had just gotten married, and you know, it's like, is everything good with them? And all these, you know, and so it's like, I just had a lot of, I guess, thoughts of the outside world. And as you said, Hannah, it's like time stopped. Boom, you walked in the house until you get out and see everybody and sort of get caught up. And so there were a lot of unknowns in the world.
Yeah. Well, and these house guests are gonna jump out and be like, excuse me, what just happened? What are you talking about?
Right.
The president and the like,
Oh,
they don't know. And we have to go vote in an election.
They're like, oh,
yeah.
Wait, what?
Will they be able
They'll be out
to vote?
October 13th, and then
they
have
they
to
would be able to
vote.
vote in the November election, but they're going to come out and think it's Biden versus Trump, and we know Biden is not running now. He's sort of said to Kamala she can take the reins, and it's not a done deal as of today, the 23rd.
Right, they have to wait. I think
July.
they're waiting till the national convention. Right, but still,
they don't know this news now.
No.
Sometimes Big Brother does give them a competition where they'll give them current events, and I would love to see that and to see their reaction to what is happening in the world.
They have to do it because it's such a history making moment. I think that they're going to do it and say it just because it's something that we'll all look back on as a moment in history, and they love moment in history. You know what I mean?
You know, they also don't know, if I'm not mistaken here, that there was an assassination attempt on former President Trump while he was campaigning. So all of these things that have been very historic. I'm just thinking back to so much that's happened in the 2024 election cycle. Okay. Wow. I mean, this is mind blowing, guys.
The last day to register to vote, I believe, is October 7th. And so they'll miss that deadline. Like, I wonder if Big Brother will let them register to vote.
But they would probably register to, they probably are. I mean, I would assume if they're over
21.
Oh yeah, maybe.
But he's over 18, so he would have voted in the last election, right?
Yeah, if he voted in something state, local, something like that.
Like something. Right.
Yeah.
And he's in the military, he probably is registered to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, Rachel's got this figured out. But needless to say, the world has changed in just this short amount of time. These house guests have been in there, and I think that's something that even as we watch it, we're forgetting about that. A good reminder of that is go back to season 2 of Big Brother and how September 11th happened. 9/11 took place while our season was running. Not the one I was in, but the Mike and Will season. So Dr. Will won that season, and for Big Brother to tell them about what had happened. Our world had changed, and they didn't grasp it. They didn't really understand the magnitude of what had happened in our world until they came out. Even though they were told it, it was. I remember watching the feeds and just being blown away and going, they don't get it. Like our world has changed. Like air travel shut down for a whole week. Like life stopped, and we've had this momentous thing happen, and to them they just kept going and playing a game. And yeah, it's really remarkable. So it's worth a stream just to see some of that from season 2, Big Brother 2. Wow. And Dr. Will sort of etched himself into the lore of Big Brother and the super player. Something else that I think, as we talk about technology and that there isn't any, it brings us to this AI special whatever Ainsley is in the game. For both of you, do you like this? Do you not? Where do you stand?
Well, go ahead, Hannah.
I was just going to keep it short and sweet. I think it is an interesting way to incorporate what we are experiencing out here in real time. Everyone keeps talking about the takeover of AI. AI is going to take our jobs. Even with like the advent of Chat GPT, the way that we write papers, the way that we conduct research and public research or published research, I apologize, has changed. So it's almost like, I don't know, I commend Big Brother for kind of hopping on that and putting their own little spin on AI.
Yeah, I think it's like a little gimmicky, but I mean, I like it. I think it's fun. I think that I think they could have done it a little differently, and I think I would have been more excited to see it done differently. We had been talking about maybe they would put a human in that was dictated by AI to play the game. So almost like an America's Player, but an AI player. Or I thought maybe it would be some sort of like AI, like robot playing along with the house, which they're kind of doing that, but it's not, it doesn't feel like AI. It feels like a twist that production came up with, and they're just calling it AI, which is fine. And I don't hate that. I just wish they would have used it a little more, because I think CBS has the access to some really cool technology. Like this hologram thing is so cool. I mean,
what is it called? A proto
something. Yeah. It's like, but it's really cool technology. Like it's an actual like hologram, right? So like
it looks like a 3D. Like this.
No, they film
Ainsley
people.
Looks three-dimensional to the house guests as they look in this box. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So what they do, it's a 360 camera that films. So when Julie was in it, it's a 360 camera that films them. So it projects that holographic image inside. So it does look like a 3D image, like what you see if you go to like a concert and you watch Michael Jackson or whatever. So it looks like that, or I guess that's the tech, right? But like I think that they could use that even a little bit more. It might come into play. And I really think it would be cool, because the deep fake is supposed to step into the box. So what I'm wondering is, whoever the HOH is, they'll take them out in their back of the HOH room. There's a door back there, and like put them in the 360 box and film it, and then like project that into with a secret meeting with the deep fake HOH or something. Or I don't know, however they'll do it.
That could be cool.
Right. It could be really cool. So I hope that they use it more, because what we've seen so far, I think they could have made it more interesting, but what we've seen has been like not as exciting as I would have hoped. But I love the idea of an AI Big Brother something.
What I thought is that it felt like, instead of us hearing Don Woolman telling people to go to the backyard for a competition, now we just have this voice of Ainsley, and it's a character, it's something visual. They do TV's visual, that sort of helps with competitions and some of those things. So I felt like it was a way production could create a competition host without having to bring somebody in from a previous season, or some of those times where we're outside of a live show where Julie hosts. But I agree with you, Rachel, that there's like a high hope I have that we'll see something cool from this over the season. I didn't even think about like what they could do with that deep fake, because
Yeah.
you scan the house guests, have them say a few lines, and then they do that because the apps are there. Like you can
Yeah.
type something in and make it sound like I said it, which is terrifying. But yeah, in a couple of years, we'll just tell AI, write some thoughts about the show that, you know, sound like something I would say, and it'll be a little AI avatar, and it'll generate it in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Oh, 100%. And it would be so interesting. I thought they were going to use all the winners and put that into AI, scrape the winners like strategies, and then have a human play as the AI from all the winners, which could be really interesting, because then you'd have like an AI that has learned, because what AI is just machine learning. So this AI would have learned all the strategies to win Big Brother. And then now they're putting this into a human, and the human has to see if the AI strategies to win would win the game. Right. But you know, maybe another season, because that's what they did on The Circle.
I have the opposite view as you guys. I know you guys had higher hopes for this BB AI. You thought maybe it would be a legitimate 17th house guest. I do not like when production incorporates all of these twists. I think that's kind of what's messed up the integrity of the game a bit. That's why I enjoy old school BB kind of stopping at like season 15, 16, so much more than I enjoy modern BB, despite the fact that I was on modern BB, is because it's supposed to be a social experiment. It's a social game. You get to observe social dynamics and how people can kind of throw away their ethics and their morals and leave them at the door when you dangle a $500,000, $750,000 prize in front of them. That is why I like the show. I'm not watching the show for all of these twists and turns that are kind of implanted by production. So I like the fact that as of right now, BBAI is just some surface level competition host that makes announcements to the house guests, so the house guests don't have to stand at the front of the living room reading like the lines that they give you. You guys know how that goes.
Yeah.
And I think the house is really cool. I think it's a very cohesive house because of this BBII theme. And yeah, I just think it's a cool take by BB. Since
I
AI
really like
is
all the
cool look. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the look. The house, I thought it was AI generated images, and like seeing it on the feeds and on TV, it's really cool. Like they've added so many cool like nooks and crannies and like aspects of like an AI world. And I think that they have made it really interesting, like visually.
Yeah,
I love
agreed.
that.
I think
All right, so you two have it's kind of a very different thought on the AI, and you know, the hopes that this will be something bigger and cooler is where I stand with it all. Let's talk about these couple of big challenges, and I think I'd like to hear from you, Hannah, the thing that came in with that competition on night 1 and night 2, where we have people becoming the deepfake HOH, as we were discussing there, or America's Veto. So Quinn won the deepfake HOH, and America's Veto went to Mackenzie. And then we've got Centric and Chelsea becoming BBAI mascots, which really puts them in major jeopardy here with no HOH or POV. They can't vote in the first live eviction. They've got to just cheer everybody on. What do you think about these twists? Because Hannah, it felt like you were saying you don't like as much involvement. You just want old school. Let these people get in the house and then play the game.
yeah, agreed. Or not agreed, but like that is what I said. I before I get into my thoughts on the first 2 episodes, I feel like you can tell production and everyone who's involved behind the scenes is really going above and beyond to make this an enjoyable season for viewers. So I just really appreciate that, because I was not sure what direction we were heading in as a show. So yeah, it just makes me that much more excited to watch this summer. But in terms of the first 2 episodes and that twist that they had with the upgrade and the downgrade, I would just like to point out one thing. I thought Rubina's reasoning for voting Ainsley into the house was super interesting. She said, you know, I recognize that this would be one more person I have to compete against, but who am I to take that opportunity away from someone when I'm being given that opportunity? That right there tells me she's a very compassionate person, a very empathetic person. She doesn't have a God complex or a superiority complex. But I just question whether she's ready for the game and what kind of compromises she may have to make in terms of her character to get to the end. So that I feel like that told me a lot about her as a person, and that maybe will inform how she chooses to play this game. I would have definitely chosen no. Don't send another house guest in here. She seems sketchy. I liked how Matt said, wait, she works at a surf shop and she's wearing tinfoil or like
Yeah,
aluminum. I don't trust her. That's exactly the thought that I would have had. I was like, okay, come on, Matt, with your observations. I okay, the comps this season feel more equitable to me.
yeah,
Like them sitting in a chair, having to spin in circles and remember a sequence, them having to look in boxes with creepy, crawly things, decipher an anagram, assign the word to the box, hit the button. Like that is something that I think anyone could do versus competitions that require Olympic level strength. Like right there, you can discount the people who may be older, you can discount the people who may have a disability. So I am really enjoying the comps this season as well. The last thing that I want to say is Quinn has already told Chemo and Angela that he has an upgrade. And I know he shared this information as currency to really gain favor with Angela, the HOH. But Angela seems like such a volatile, ticking time bomb. As Rachel said, she wants her moment that I have a feeling if her back is against the wall, she's going to be like, and Quinn has the power.
oh yeah,
So if that was smart on Quinn, I know Mac or Mackenzie told Matt. I do think that Matt will probably keep that a secret. It does seem that Matt is a relatively trustworthy person to work with, as flawed as he can be. And then yeah, Cedric and Chelsea, they don't have any power this week. They can't vote. They couldn't play in HOH. They couldn't play in veto. As of right now, they're safe. And as far as we're concerned, this downgrade only lasts for this week of Big Brother. But I really like Chelsea and Cedric. I was a bit hesitant on what to expect from Cedric just because of how young he is. He seems like he has a lot of energy, but he isn't rubbing anyone the wrong way. He's in the middle of a lot of alliances. People are turning to him as a soundboard. It seems like they respect what he has to say, so good on him. Chelsea just also has this very calming presence about her. I think people trust her too. I see both of them going very far. And I love the friendship that they've forged. There's such a big age gap between them, but they almost remind me of like myself and Xavier. We were really tight, but it was always platonic, very like big brother, little sister. So yeah, I like those two. I think those two are two to watch. And then Tucker, like I said, is just a hater and I love him. He reminds me a lot of Enzo.
yeah. He does remind me of Enzo. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think the games producers this season are really stepping up.
Mhm.
I love the new competitions that we're seeing. I love the relationship between Chelsea and Cedric. I also think their downgrade is actually helping them in the game because I
Mhm.
think people are like looking at it as they're not a threat. They're not like someone to like really worry about. And because they don't have any power, we don't have to like include them in like the blood on their hands conversations. So I think that that's helpful for them. I thought the first two episodes, I like the upgrade downgrade. I agree. I would say no. But I would say no because I don't want another house guest in the house. And I would also think that like the stuff that Ainsley said about, you know, you have to vote. If you don't vote me in, it will be a problem. So I would immediately think in my head, like, this person is like threatening us. Like, there's something sketchy about it. Like, it's just the stuff that Ainsley said seemed weird.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, I thought everything. I liked the first two episodes. I don't like a 2 hour, or I don't like a split up 2 day entry. I wish it was 1 2 hour episode. And then I think because we're Angela, I don't think Quinn knew Angela was so volatile when he told her about the power. So I think when he told her about the power, he wanted to stay off the block and was trying to form an alliance with her as the first HOH. And I think he looked at her as like, oh, this is the older mom and she'll probably be around for a long time. And this is someone that I could work with. And then I don't think he knew she was so volatile. So I think Quinn is going to have to, I think Angela 1000% calls out Quinn next week in week 2 for having a power. So I think Quinn is going to be having to work overtime with that power.
Well,
Agreed.
okay. I agree with you that the 2-night finale is tough. So I don't know if you guys did this too, though. I waited until I could like start one and then get through both of them back to back because I didn't want it all split up. Thank you, DVRs. And then Julie did tell us that I think Friday night they re-aired them in
they
together.
did. Yep.
And then our even our third episode I think was a little longer than it, wasn't it? Like,
it was 90 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an extended episode. It's
CBS said they were going to do 90-minute episodes of all of their unscripted. So I don't know why we're only getting 60-minute Big Brother episodes. So I am confused about that because they had said like, sometime last year. So Survivor got 90 minutes, Amazing Race got 90 minutes, and then we were expecting a Big Brother 90-minute episodes. But it looks like the episodes throughout the season are 60 minutes.
Well, I guess from a production standpoint, they still do 3 hours a week.
Yeah. That's true.
Which is, it's just a nonstop pace. And kudos to production. Whether fans, players, you like them or not. And they are the hardest working people on this show and probably on any show. Live there. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for that whole time. Like they are trapped in that production part of the Big Brother house, just like these house guests are trapped in the house itself.
Yeah. Not even actors work that long.
Nobody does. Well, when I've talked to story producers and they're the story producers, especially the overnight team, they'll just be like, okay, they'll go grab some food. They come back. Like it's just 24/7. They're there watching because they don't know when we're going to need to go to the diary room to talk. And when we're going to have when they need to pull us in to get some stuff. So they all say it is boot camp for working on unscripted television. If you want to work in unscripted, work on Big Brother, do whatever you can to get on that show, because it is literally, they say it's boot camp for working on any other show. If you can do Big Brother, you can do any show. That's what they say.
That's pretty impressive.
I think that goes for too, right? Wouldn't you say so? Mm-hmm.
Well, I love the insight because of Rachel's casting background. And I know I did that for a few years. It's been many, many years ago, the early 2000s, right after Big Brother, for like Amazing Race and Survivor and a few others like that. You can never work on Big Brother. That's because of our conflict of being a contestant on the show. I want to do this real quick. If there's anything we want to update everybody on, sort of where everybody's been since last summer, just quick life updates. Because I made mention that Rachel, we know you're doing Amazon stuff all the time, and people they can follow you live in your life and your family and all that stuff. But this is what I want you both to think about, because it's fun here now as we get this season started to sort of pick and we'll give like 2 people that you're watching. Maybe they're not going to be the big winners overall, but some faces to watch in this house that you feel like will do well. And I feel like, for Rachel, it might be Lisa in there. I don't know. We'll see. But let's start with life updates. What's everybody doing? How's everybody been in this last year?
Good. I'm in school, and I'm also doing Amazon Lives. I'm working. I do Mondays. So we were doing Monday and Tuesday over the summer, but moving forward, it'll just be on Mondays. And I think Brendan is going to start joining me. We're trying to get that worked out so he can do Monday morning with me as well. And the Amazon Lives are so fun. Prime Day was exhausting. I will tell you that much. But it was very fun. I love it.
But thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, Prime Days. A lot of great deals, and there's still deals going on.
Those in. I think there's something on the porch every day.
Literally, me too. Me too. And then what else? My kids are great. They're getting older. School starts back in like 2 weeks, which is crazy to say. But I've been just kind of busy doing all that fun stuff over the summer, and I'll let Hannah take it away. Oh, and I'm here to watch Lisa, and I'm here. I think I'm thinking that like, I think that Chemo might be someone to watch, but I'm not sure if he'll be a floater. I hope not, but I think he's just kind of doing what he needs to do to stay in the game this week. And I think he's doing a good job of staying because nobody even wants to vote him out. And then I really like the cast. So I think it's going to be hard to just pick two people, but Lisa definitely. And I don't know, I couldn't even tell you a winner, to be honest. I think that it's just the cast is like so all over the place. All over the place. I couldn't even think, but I like Leah too. I really like her. I like Chelsea. The women this season, I think, are really great.
I think you're right on it. The women are strong in this season, and I think we may have another lady
female
take
winner
that prize. Yeah.
I think so.
What do you think, Hannah?
Yeah, I would not be surprised if we get a woman winner. Also, Leah, VIP cocktail waitress, Rachel, Janelle, Portia, all did super, super well across the board. So I have high hopes for her. I also just think she's funny.
She is.
So I guess in terms of life updates, I moved to Washington, D.C. at around this time last year. If you guys remember, we were like about to start podcasting while I was getting all of that settled in. I started my first year of med school. I ended my first year of med school. It's going super, super well. I love it. I don't think I've ever felt like this is exactly where I'm meant to be at this institution with these people, learning these things as much as I have throughout this last year. So I'm very blessed in that regard. And let's see. That's pretty much it. It's just school. Rachel, no.
Med school's a lot. Yeah. I can't imagine med school.
But no, I love it, every bit of it. And in terms of who I think is going to win, originally I said this was just based off of like cast pictures and their bios and their little interview clips that we received. I said Joseph, Angela, Matthew.
Oh.
Now I'm going to take back Angela because I don't think she's making it past jury.
Yeah, she's not getting a jury. Okay.
There's a lot going on there, but Angela for AFP, maybe. No, we'll see. But I'm still going to stick with Joseph. I think Matthew's cockiness, dare I say, / his just overconfidence in his gameplay abilities, despite the fact that it's only day 6, day 7, that might bite him in the butt. I don't know how long he's going to stay. I think that might just rub people the wrong way. And any chance he's on the block, people will probably try to take that opportunity to get him out. So I'm sticking with Joseph. And I'm going to add Chelsea to the mix. I think that Chelsea and or Joseph are going to do very well this season. I would not be surprised if either of them win. And again, I'm Team Tucker. I think he's so funny.
All right. He's if for nothing else, we want him to stay for the feeds, right?
Yeah.
Rachel, I'm in the same boat with you. I've got kids getting ready for back to school. We've been doing back to school shopping. I can't believe it. It's August next week, and then they're back in no time here in Florida. What's most unsettling is realizing that I was on season 3, which was in 2002 of Big Brother, and season 3 it was 22 years ago. So yeah, I'm in my late 40s now, and my baby, is now at 12. So I got, everybody's in double digits, but got high school kids, like it's crazy. So we're starting high school with my oldest too, and so. I mean, yeah, life is busy. And then if you're in Orlando, turn us on. I work for WESH 2. I anchor the news in the morning. And the thing that's the most wonderful here in Central Florida is I'll get stopped more from people who watched Big Brother in 2002 than every single morning before the Today Show. I'm that face, but they remember Big Brother. It's such a cool phenomenon.
But it's because you guys haven't played at all. Like just for
thankfully
some
the soul patch is gone. That was such a bad, regrettable fashion move.
I was 1 years old when you were on Big Brother, and now
I
I'm
know.
24. No, but you look the same, Jason.
You do
Thank
look
you.
the exact same,
Thank you.
Jason. It's
Thank you. I
crazy.
think Rachel, I think the same. Hannah,
Thank
the same.
you.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
it's hey, yeah, there's something about that house. I think
It's
people
life.
do age really well after getting out of there. I mean, for the most
Honestly,
part.
nothing else is
It's
stressful. That's what it is.
it gives
We
you a new
live we
perspective on
live the
life.
most stressful experiences in that house. Now everything else is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
That's actually what it is. I need you guys to write a book on the secret of life. I
Yeah.
want whatever.
Go on Big Brother. There you go.
And then don't stress anything else.
Yeah.
That is really true. It puts things into perspective. And I think that's, maybe that's a big life lesson, is just perspective. There are times when things have happened and it's terrible and it feels like, well, this day was awful, or this thing that you didn't turn out the way. And then you go, but my kids are healthy. I'm alive. I'm good. It's like, I'm here. I got up today. That means that I'm living. I'm blessed. I'm allowed to take another breath. And so it's that perspective that sometimes, yeah, I think it's a really good thing to have. The perspective on these house guests, I don't know where to stand. I couldn't pick one. I would probably do just as well if I took a dartboard and put everybody's face and just blindly threw it on there. I think I'm with you, Hannah. Chelsea is such a strong player. She's, and I wrote this down, nonprofit director. She played collegiate basketball. So she's done team sports, which there's something about being part of a team sport that helps you figure out different personalities and navigate all of that. The religious thing connected with me, that faith is something that, and it's a tough thing in that house to go, I'm going to play a game, and I'll play a game with our family and we're playing cards. I'm not going to show my cards. So I don't feel like I've not told the truth, but I didn't let you in on everything that I was doing. But I do find that interesting to watch, sort of the how you navigate that and still go, she just said, I'm going to just ask Jesus for forgiveness or whatever. So she's just like, whatever, I'm doing it. But she mentors kids. Like, she's it seems like a good human. And I was like, all right, I'm team Chelsea. All the way. And then I've got Quinn on my list because I love the name. I named one of my kids that, so I've got a daughter with that name. But so I hear it, I'm like, oh, I perk up. There's already an affinity. And then Quinn said he's going to play like Jason Guy from Big Brother, and then it's done. So lottery will get we'll get you everywhere with reality contestants, right? And then
that's so true. That's so true.
They'll instantly stand. But Pam, I think, is someone else to watch. We haven't seen a ton of Pam on feeds. We haven't heard from him. But despite his height, despite his build, despite the fact that he played a collegiate sport as well, and I think he went professional for a bit, he has somehow managed to get himself off of anyone's radar. He's very well ingrained in some cultures and alliances. So he reminds me a lot of the Xavier, Cody Calafiori, Casey from the archetype. I could see him going far as well.
I thought immediately Cam was watching him in the house, not on his interviews in the house. I thought Xavier immediately. Everybody likes him. Everybody wants to talk to him, but he's not saying much. But he talks. He has conversations. He's just not out in the business talking about Big Brother, gaming, and all that stuff. He lets other people. He listens. And I think that's something that Xavier did that was really smart. And I thought I noticed that about Cam too. And Cam's very charming, and he seems very like a guy that you like. He just seems very likable.
Yeah, I think the likability factor will take him a long way. I do worry if he turns into a competition beast when it becomes something, it's physical stuff, where we're talking about competitions that have so far seemed like a level playing field. If they turn into something that's like, you've got to be really strong and you've got to be agile and you've got to be an athlete, then that may put some type of target on him. But yeah, definitely a player that could go very far. And sort of, no, we're not talking about him because he's right in the middle, not so much floating, but just, I think, being very smart and
100%.
connecting. So yeah, he's one to watch. I
just wasn't even thinking other than, everybody immediately like, oh, everybody's, I think he's like, everybody wants to either, be liked by him or be with him, that kind of a thing. That's what is it, the guys want to be him, girls want to be with him.
Yes.
Or however, whatever the expression is. Yeah, you're just like, that guy, he's awesome.
Wait, during the premiere episode, did you catch how, because you know how they always do that showman segment at the very beginning, like, ooh, so and so, I love him, or like, I really like him. And Chelsea was talking about Cam and was like, ooh, Cam's so attractive. He has all his teeth. I was like, wait, that's the bar that we're saying.
It's not too high.
Not even every time. Everything Chelsea says, I'm like, she is us. She is so funny.
No, but not even like, oh, he has a nice smile. Like, he has all his teeth.
Thanks for checking out the Secret Alliance podcast. Make sure you tell someone who loves Big Brother all about us. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave us some comments.